All right, moving on to the distributive property. Everyone loves and knows the distributive property. We are in lesson 2.5. Our essential question today says, can you use the distributive property to simplify expressions? The actual definition of the distributive property says for real numbers A, B, and C, A times B plus C. Notice this gets distributed. So I'll draw that with a little arrow. A is multiplied by B. Keep the sign in the middle. A is multiplied by C. So notice this 1A is multiplied by AB and AC. Now, you can distribute this way as well. Don't let that throw you off. So B plus C times A is equal to AB plus AC. So we're going to try a couple of these. They want you to have number awareness. So they're saying that to solve 6 times 48, we can go ahead and split it up to 6 times 40 plus 8, because that's a little easier to do 6 times 40 and 6 times 8, where you get 288. Now, obviously, you could go ahead and multiply 48 times 6, and you get 48, carry, and you get 288 as well. Most of you are used to doing the old school classic way, but this is just a good way to open up your number theory a little bit and see how numbers really work. So just take note of that. So on that note, how could I split this up? I can look at 4 times 3 and 4 times a quarter, because hopefully you know what 4 times a quarter is. So if I distributed this through, 4 times 3 is 12, 4 times a quarter is 1, where the answer is 13. All right, moving on. This backwards distributive property, don't let it throw you off. 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times 4 is 8. Am I able to add these? No, I am not. Now, the book kind of wrote it out where they show 2 times 3x plus 2 times 4, and then you get that. That's fine. You can write out all your work if you want to. I like this because it does show us what we're about to go to. Notice this 2 became here and here. Because the next concept that we have that I really want you to try to ace is to think of something like this. I actually do this in Algebra 2 as well. Notice that the 26 here, well, we can use what I call it first, the opposite of the distributive property, and pull that 26 out. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because 23 plus 77 is really easy to add together. So if I pull that 26 out, now a lot of you students have trouble with that because you say, wait, you have one 26 and you made it, you have two 26s and you made it equal 1. Well, notice here above we had 2 2s when we distribute it through, and only 1 was given as well, and you had no trouble with it then when we distributed it. But notice that these 2 can pull out. It's called factoring. So don't forget that word factoring. We'll use the word factoring and learn a ton about factoring in Algebra 1. So I'm going to factor that 26 out because 23 plus 77 is equal to 100. Well, that's a whole lot easier to multiply. We know the answer is 2,600. Way easier than doing this and then this. So let's try to see if we could see things like that where we could factor or use what we would call the opposite of the distributive property and solve it like that. We can also use the distributive property with respect to subtraction. So notice if I have A times B minus C, the sign just doesn't change. If it was addition, we keep it addition. If it's subtraction, we keep it subtraction. And same here. It would be the same thing. So let's just practice one of those. Now, if you can add them inside the parentheses, you can add them. But notice here, they want you to use distribution because it's a little easier to say, oh, 5 times 130 is 150. And minus 5 times 2 is 10. And I know that's 140. What do you think they want us to do for this one? Probably separate it, right? They probably want us to look at this as 7 times 20 plus 8, because we know 7 times 20 is 140. 7 times 8 is 56. So 7 times 28 is what? 196.